I arrived at my hotel room in Florida. I opened the curtains. A lizard was there, a small, harmless Florida lizard who was clearly not paying rent. I named him Chico because Steve seemed wrong for a reptile, and Reginald seemed like I was trying too hard. Chico looked at me. I looked at Chico. He was reddish-brown, the color of terracotta or dried blood or a penny that's seen some shit. We had an understanding. He would remain a lizard, and I would remain terrified of things with too many toes. I didn't have time to deal with Chico because I had dinner plans with people who would judge me if I was late. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I left a prehistoric creature unsupervised in my hotel room and went to eat shrimp. By the time I finished the dinner and the drinks, and sweet merciful Christ, there were drinks, so many drinks, that I started explaining to strangers why time is a flat circle and hotel ice machines are sentient. I had completely forgotten about my new roommate. I went to sleep with the very real possibility that a small dinosaur was loose somewhere in my room, possibly plotting revenge for the extinction of his ancestors. Nobody tells you this is how evolution gets you. The next morning, everyone asked about Chico like he was a celebrity, or possibly like I'd adopted a child without telling anyone. "How's Chico?" they asked. "Did you let him out? Is he okay? Did you name him after someone?" I had not let him out. I had forgotten he existed. In my defense, I'd had drinks. Also, I'm an idiot. These facts are related. That afternoon, I returned to my room for something I needed. Probably my dignity, which I'd left somewhere between the third mojito and the commitment to lizard stewardship. There was Chico on my pillow, looking like a tiny reddish-brown lawyer who'd caught me in a lie. Which, to be fair, he had. I reached for him. He hopped to another pillow like we were in some kind of lizard chess match. I was destined to lose. I moved left. He moved right. I moved right. He moved righter. Which isn't even a real direction, but Chico made it one. This went on for what felt like an hour, but was probably 30 seconds. Time works differently when you're being outsmarted by something with a brain the size of a pea. I opened the sliding glass door, thinking perhaps Chico would appreciate an exit strategy, an escape route, a chance at freedom. All the things William Wallace died for, Chico did not appreciate anything. He sat there like a tiny reddish-brown Buddha, achieving enlightenment while I achieved a hernia. I tried to hurt him with a pillow, moving slowly like I was defusing a bomb, except the bomb was 3 inches long and kept doing push-ups to mock me. He laughed at me. I don't know if lizards can laugh, but this one definitely did. It was in his eyes. Those cold reptilian eyes that had seen the rise and fall of civilizations and found them all equally disappointing. Finally, I cupped both hands and caught him. Victory. I felt like Rocky at the top of those stairs. I felt like Luke Skywalker blowing up the Death Star. I felt like... Except, here's what nobody tells you about the lizards. They're made of jello and spite and some kind of quantum physics that allows them to exist in multiple places at once. He liquefied right through my fingers like a scaly little Houdini who'd just watched a YouTube tutorial on escape artistry and hit the floor running. Then he went under the bed, because of course he did. The universe has a sense of humor, and it's mean, and it watches reality TV. I got down on the floor, which at my age requires planning and possibly a permit, and used my phone's flashlight to locate him. He was dead center under the bed, exactly where human arms can't reach without dislocating something important, like a shoulder or a spine or your will to live. It was like he'd studied ergonomics specifically to fuck with me. I slid my phone under to nudge him, doing that thing where you kind of push with your fingertips while your face is pressed against carpet that hasn't been cleaned since the Clinton administration. My phone made contact. He bolted like Usain Bolt if Usain Bolt had 4 legs and trust issues. I assumed he ran out the open door to freedom, to the Everglades, to a better life where giants didn't try to capture him with pillows. He did not. But I didn't know that yet, because I was too busy having an existential crisis about how to retrieve my phone from under the bed without calling the front desk and explaining that I'd lost a fight with a lizard. I managed it, barely, by dislocating something that's probably important and making sounds that I hope the people in the next room attributed to vigorous lovemaking rather than defeat at the hands of a reptile. Later, someone suggested using the hotel ironing board as an extension arm. This person was a genius, a fucking genius. Someone give this person a Nobel Prize. I was an idiot. The math checks out. The math always checks out when you're the idiot. I walked to the patio doors, sweaty and defeated, and saw a lizard outside, basking in the Florida sun like a tiny, scaly Jimmy Buffett who'd found his Margaritaville. Chico, I said, actually said out loud like a lunatic. You're free. You made it, buddy. I closed the doors and felt like a Disney princess who'd just learned valuable lessons about letting things go, about freedom, about how sometimes you have to love something enough to let it bask on your patio while you go inside and drink wine directly from the bottle. That night, I went to adjust the curtains. There was Chico, dangling from the curtain rod like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, like Spider-Man, if Spider-Man was a lizard, and terrible at keeping a low profile, staring at me with his dead lizard eyes that said, "Did you really think it would be that easy?" The bastard had never left. He'd been in my room the whole time, probably watching me celebrate his freedom, like some kind of tiny reddish-brown Kaiser saucy. I wrangled him. I sweet-talked him. I may have threatened him with the ironing board, which I now had because someone at the front desk looked at me very strangely when I requested it for pants. I'd said, definitely for pants. They didn't believe me. I wouldn't have believed me either. Eventually, took you through some combination of determination and dumb luck, and possibly divine intervention from a deity who was tired of watching this shit show, I got him outside. The other lizard was still out there. They looked at each other. It was awkward. It was like running into your ex at Whole Foods. Nobody knew what to say. I closed the door quickly before they could form an alliance. Before bed, I checked under there one last time with my flashlight. Because trust issues are permanent, I found a tiny toy car, the kind that comes in a Happy Meal or from the bottom of a cereal box. The kind that makes you wonder what kind of person loses a toy car under a hotel bed and doesn't notice. I'm that kind of person now. The next morning, I told everyone I'd solved the mystery of how Chico got into my room. I pulled out the toy car with a flourish, like a detective in an Agatha Christie novel revealing the murderer, except the murderer was a lizard, and the crime was trespassing. He drove, I said. Nobody laughed, but I laughed. And really, when you're the guy who spent 2 days in a Cold War standoff with a 3-inch lizard and lived to tell the tale, when you're the guy who got outsmarted by something that would lose a fight with a house cat, when you're the guy who celebrated a lizard's freedom, only to find out he'd been watching you the whole time, like some kind of scaly Truman Show. You take your wins where you can get them, even if your wins are just toy cars and imaginary applause. Especially then.